You know this face. It sells posters and postcards and coffee mugs. People call her the Dutch Mona Lisa. And like the Mona Lisa, everyone assumes she was someone, a real girl in a real room, who sat for the painter one afternoon and then went home. But there is no room here, no window, no letter, no name, nothing at all to tell you who she is. The most recognized young woman in the history of art was built, from the first stroke of the brush, to be no one in particular. Girl with a pearl earring, Johannes Vermeer, around 1665. Stay with her a moment. The turn of the head over the shoulder, the eyes catching yours. That look is why, in 1999, a novelist invented a whole life for her. A servant in Vermeer's house, quietly in love with the master. Hollywood filmed it, and millions of people read it and believed in her. The novel is fiction, and it says so on the cover, but every reader was doing the exact thing the painting asks of you, filling the silence, handing the nameless girl a name. And the strange part is that she was made for it. The picture was designed around an emptiness, and the emptiness was the point. To see how, you need to know what kind of picture this actually is. It is not a portrait. The Dutch had a word for a picture like this, a tronie. It means a study of a head, a face painted not to record one particular person, but to catch a type, a character, an expression. Painters turned them out all through the 1600s. Rembrandt made them. The point of a tronie was never who, it was how. So the girl on this small panel is not a likeness of anybody. She is a study of a head, and a study, by long custom, stays anonymous. Vermeer left only a handful. 4 survive. This is the one the world remembers. Which turns the usual question inside out. The question is no longer who she is, it is what she is made of. Start with what he put behind her, which is nothing at all. Look at the space around her. There is no room, no window, no chair, no table, no floor for her to stand on. Only a dark and even ground, the color of a room with the lights turned out. Every ordinary trick a painter uses to tell you who a sitter is, Vermeer simply left out. No wedding ring, no prayer book, no coat of arms, no view through a window of the town she lived in. In a portrait, those things are how you read a person, and here there are none of them. And that absence is not laziness, it is the engine of the whole picture. With nothing to place her, nothing to date her, nothing to name her, there is nothing standing between her face and yours. She could be a girl from his own street in 1665. She could be someone you passed this morning. The emptiness is exactly what lets her belong to whoever is looking. So everything now hangs on the little he did give her. Start with what she is wearing. Look at what she is wearing. A length of cloth wound round the head, blue, and then a fall of pale yellow, tied in a way no Dutch girl of the 1660s ever wore down the street. It is a costume, a studio prop. In the household inventories of the day, head wraps like this get listed as dress in the Turkish fashion, foreign, exotic, kept folded in the painter's workroom and wound on when he wanted it. And underneath the faraway costume, the face is pure Holland. The eyebrows plucked back almost to nothing, the forehead shaved high and bare. That was the last word in Dutch fashion the year she was painted. A local girl then, in a disguise from the far side of the world. And then there is the blue. That is not just any blue. It is ultramarine, ground from Lapis lazuli, a stone hacked out of the mountains of Afghanistan, carried halfway across the world. Worth, ounce for ounce, more than almost anything else a painter could put on a panel. Which raises a question about the man holding the brush. Who grinds up a fortune in blue stone and winds it round the head of a girl with no name? Step back from the panel for a moment, away from her, to the man who made her. His name was Johannes Vermeer. He worked in Delft, a small Dutch city of canals and pottery kilns, and he painted slowly, painfully slowly. Around 36 paintings survive from his entire life. Not 36 a year, 36 in a career. He was respected. Twice his fellow painters chose him to head their guild, but respect did not pay the baker. He had 11 children to feed. He dealt other men's pictures on the side to keep afloat. And when he died at 43, he left his widow buried in debt. And this is the man who ground the most expensive colour in Europe to wrap around the head of a girl he never named. In no letter, no note, no line of any record did he ever set down who she was. So the care is real. A slow master, a costly stone, weeks of patient work at a small panel, and all of it spent on no one in particular. He grinds a fortune for the blue, so you would expect the thing the whole world names her for to be the true treasure of the picture. Come back and look at it. The pearl. It hangs there at the line of her jaw, round and heavy and softly lit, and it gives the painting its name. Now look at how it is actually painted. It is not drawn as an object at all. There is no line around it, no hard edge, no little grey sphere carefully modelled. There are 2 touches of paint, one soft stroke of white on top where a window catches it, one dim glimmer underneath where her white collar throws the light back up. That is the whole pearl, 2 strokes and the shadow in between them. And here is the other half of it. It is almost certainly not a pearl. A natural pearl that size hanging from a girl in Delft would have been a small fortune on its own. Most likely it is a drop of polished glass, tricked out to shine like the real thing, a cheap prop from the same box as the turban. So the most famous jewel in the history of art is a bead of glass laid down in 2 strokes, and still you would swear that it was real, which is the trick of the entire painting, and it reaches its peak in her face. Come close to her face, closer than a gallery will ever let you stand. Everything that makes her feel alive is a decision, made in wet paint that you can watch him take. The eyes first, in each one a single wet point of light where the pupil catches the window. That one dab is what makes her seem to look back at you. Cover it and the gaze goes dead. Then the mouth, not closed and not quite open. The lips are just parted, with a soft touch of light on the lower one and the faintest gleam of a tooth behind. That half-open mouth is why, 3.5 centuries on, she still looks as though she has turned this second to face you and drawn the breath to speak. The light falls from the left. The near side of her face stays in a soft shadow so that nothing carries a hard edge. One tone melts into the next, the way real skin does. None of it is an accident. The wet eye, the parted lips, the melting cheek, each is a small touch of paint doing the work of a living face. And it works best up close, where you can see that there is no girl there at all, only the marks. Step back, and the marks close up into a person. For nearly 200 years, almost no one came to see her. When Vermeer died in 1675, he was a local name, and soon barely even that. His pictures drifted through the sale rooms under other, more famous men's names, and this one drifted with them, unloved, unremarked. In 1881, it came up at a house sale in The Hague, dirty, worn, the surface damaged. A collector named Des Tombe bought it there. The price? 2 guilders. 2 guilders and a small fee to the auctioneer. The cost of a good dinner. for the painting you now keep on a coffee mug. He had it cleaned, and slowly people began to understand what it was. When he died, he left it with 11 other pictures to the Mauritshuis, the museum in The Hague where she still hangs today. Now she sits behind glass, in a room held at a steady temperature, with a guard at the door and a crowd in front of her from opening until close. The very same object, a study of a head of no one in particular, rescued from a scrap sale for 2 guilders and turned into the most famous face in the world. Which leaves only one question. Why her? Why this one? Of all the faces painted in that century, why this nameless girl? Go back over what she actually is. A dark and empty ground with no room and no name. A borrowed costume from the other side of the world. A pearl that is a bead of glass in 2 strokes of white. A living gaze that is one wet dab of light. Add it all together, and there is no person in the picture at all. There is a void, a prop, and a small handful of marks. Nothing in her is alive. And still she seems about to speak. And still you cannot look away from her. You give her a mood. You wonder what she is thinking. A novelist gave her a name and a broken heart, and millions believed it. Because that is what the emptiness is for. Vermeer left the space around her bare, and left her face balanced on the very edge of an expression. The rest, every time, you do yourself. The longing you think you see in her is your own. The person looking out of the dark is the one you carried in. She has no name because the space where a name would go was always meant to be yours. You came to look at a girl with a pearl earring, and all this while she has been looking at you.